The great hall of the Galactic Council shimmered with light. 17 tall seats formed a circle, each filled by a different alien being. They were the most powerful creatures in the known universe, and today they were angry. Humans cannot be trusted. Ambassador Ta slammed his four-fingered hand on the smooth table. His blue skin darkened with emotion. For too long, we have watched them spread across their solar system. They move too fast. They think in ways we cannot predict. The other council members nodded. Only Ambassador Jin, with her silver eyes and calm voice, seemed unsure. Perhaps we should try to understand them better, Jin said softly. Humans have not attacked any of our worlds. Tai turned to her with a harsh laugh. Not yet, but they will. You've seen their history, war after war. Violence is in their nature. Council Head Day rose from the central seat. Tall and thin with gray skin, Da commanded respect with just a look. We have discussed this matter for 3 cycles, Da said. The time for talk is over. We must vote now. Should we declare war on the humans of Earth? One by one, the council members pressed the glowing buttons on their chairs. The great screen on the wall showed the count. 15 for war, 1 for peace, 1 abstaining. It is decided, Day announced. The Galactic Council officially declares war on humanity. Ambassador Ta smiled with satisfaction. They will surrender quickly. Their technology is primitive compared to ours. They have barely reached Mars, while we control thousands of worlds. Send the message, Day ordered. Let Earth know that they face the combined might of the Galactic Council. A communications officer quickly typed the war declaration. With a single touch, the message shot across space toward the small blue planet. How long until they receive it? Asked a reptilian council member. About 8 Earth hours, replied the officer. We should expect their response shortly after. What the council didn't know was that humans had been listening all along. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains on Earth, General Han stood in a dimly lit room filled with screens and busy workers. For months, they had been intercepting and decoding alien communications. They knew a war vote was coming. They've done it, said a young woman at a monitoring station. The council has officially declared war. Messages incoming. General Han nodded, his face grim but not surprised. Alert the President and the Joint Chiefs. Activate protocol whisper. Across the room, Colonel Kim looked up from her station. Sir, should we prepare our response to their declaration? Han smiled slightly. Our response has already been decided, Colonel. Absolute silence. Silence, sir. Yes, starting now, we cut all outgoing transmissions. No radio, no digital signals leaving our atmosphere. Nothing. As far as the galaxy is concerned, Earth goes dark tonight. Kim looked confused. But won't they see that as weakness? No, said Han. They expect us to beg for peace or make threats we can't back up. They don't understand humans at all. Our silence will confuse them, make them nervous. And meanwhile, asked Kim. Han's eyes hardened. Meanwhile, we prepare. The stealth ships are ready. Yes, sir. Undetectable by any technology we know of. They can be launched within 12 hours. Good. We'll watch them, learn their weaknesses, and when the time comes, they'll discover that declaring war on humanity was the worst mistake they ever made. Han turned to look at the main screen, where the official war declaration was now displayed in both alien symbols and English translation. The Galactic Council expects us to respond with fear, he said quietly. Instead, we'll answer with silence. And in that silence, we'll become the most dangerous species they've ever encountered. Outside, the sun set over the mountains as Earth prepared for its most important battle. Not with weapons, but with silence that would echo across the stars. The room was silent as General Han walked to the front. 50 of Earth's most powerful leaders sat around a large table. Their faces showed worry, but not panic. The Galactic Council has declared war on humanity, Han said simply. We intercepted their message 6 hours ago. President Lee stood up. Her voice was steady. "What are our options, General?" "We have three choices," Han replied. "We can beg for peace. We can threaten to fight back. Or we can do something they won't expect." Diplomat Su, a small man with wise eyes, raised his hand. "May I speak?" The president nodded. "I have studied the council records we intercepted," Su said. "All 17 species share one trait. They talk constantly. They negotiate, threaten, bargain. Words are their most important tool." He paused, looking around the room. "I suggest we give them no words at all." Murmurs filled the room. Defense Minister Park frowned. "You mean surrender?" "No," Su smiled. "I mean silence. Complete radio silence. No response to their declaration. No outgoing signals of any kind. Let them wonder what we're doing." Young strategist Jun stood up next. At only 32, he was the youngest person in the room, but his mind was sharp. "Diplomat Su is right," Jun said. "These aliens expect us to act like them. To talk, to plead, to threaten. Silence will confuse them. It will make them afraid." "Afraid of what?" someone asked. "Afraid of the unknown," Jun replied. "If someone threatens you and you say nothing, what do they think? They wonder what you know that they don't." General Han nodded slowly. "We've already begun Operation Ghost. All outbound transmissions stopped 3 hours ago." "What about our defense?" asked Minister Park. "We can't just do nothing." "We won't," the general said. "While we maintain silence, we'll prepare. Our stealth ships are ready. They can observe council worlds without being detected." Chief Scientist Minna stepped forward with a tablet. "We've analyzed their technology from the signals we intercepted. Their weapons are advanced, but they have weaknesses. They rely too much on communication systems that we can now track." President Lee looked around the room. "We need to vote. Do we answer their declaration with silence while we prepare our defenses?" Hands rose one by one until almost everyone had voted yes. "It's decided," the president said. "Earth goes dark as of now. No outgoing signals. Meanwhile, we build our defenses and gather intelligence." General Han pressed a button on his watch. "I just sent the order. All Earth's space stations and colonies on Mars and the Moon are now silent too." Diplomat Su walked to the window and looked up at the stars. "The Council thinks we're primitive because we've only reached Mars. They don't know that we developed in different ways. Our stealth technology, our quantum computers, our defensive shields, these are things they haven't discovered yet." "How long do we stay silent?" asked Minister Park. "Until they make the next move," President Lee said. "They've declared war. Now let them wonder why we aren't afraid." Later that night, 12 unmarked ships left Earth's orbit. They carried no national flags, only the simple emblem of a human handprint. Captain Yoon stood on the bridge of the lead ship, looking back at Earth one last time. "Course is set," his navigator said. "We'll reach the edge of Council space in 6 days." "Good," Yoon replied. "Remember, absolute stealth at all times. We observe only. We learn their strengths and weaknesses. And we never, ever break silence." The ships vanished into the darkness, leaving no trace behind. On Earth, lights still shone in cities, planes still flew, people still lived their lives. But to the listening stars, humanity had gone completely, mysteriously silent. The next move belonged to the Galactic Council, and they would soon discover that silence could be the most powerful weapon of all. 2 weeks had passed since the war declaration. The Galactic Council chamber was no longer calm. Voices rose in confusion and anger. "Where is their response?" Ambassador Ta shouted, his blue skin now almost purple with frustration. "It has been 14 days. No human has contacted us. No messages. Nothing." Council Head Day raised a hand for quiet. "Dr. Min, please report what your team has found." Dr. Min, the Council's chief scientist, stepped forward. She was small compared to the others, with 6 fingers on each hand and eyes that blinked sideways. "Earth has gone dark," she said simply. "All signals from their planet stopped at once, exactly 3 hours after our declaration reached them. Their satellites still orbit. Their space stations still function. But they send no messages of any kind." "That's impossible," said Commander Hyun, the draconian military leader. His scaled face showed disbelief. "No species can coordinate such complete silence so quickly." "Humans did," Dr. Min replied. "One moment they were broadcasting television, radio, digital signals. The next moment, nothing. As if someone flipped a switch for their entire planet." Ambassador Jin spoke softly from her seat. "Perhaps we have frightened them into hiding." Ta laughed. "Primitives cowering in fear. I told you they would be easy to defeat." "Then why not attack now?" Commander Hyun asked, leaning forward with eagerness. "If they are afraid, we should strike immediately." A new voice spoke up. "That would be a serious mistake." All heads turned to look at junior analyst Hyun. She was the youngest member of the council staff and rarely spoke at meetings. "Explain," ordered Da. Hyun stepped into the center of the room. "I have studied Earth's history and culture. Humans don't react to threats by going silent. When afraid, they make noise. They protest. They threaten back. They prepare openly for war." She touched a control panel, and images of human history appeared on the large screen. Protests, speeches, military parades. "This silence is deliberate and coordinated," Hyun continued. "It suggests a level of unity and discipline we didn't believe they had. It suggests they have a plan." The room grew quiet as her words sank in. "What kind of plan?" Jin asked. "I don't know," Hyun admitted. "But I know this. In human military history, silence often precedes their most devastating attacks." Commander Hyun snorted. "What can they do?" "Their ships can barely reach their own moon. Our fleets control this galaxy." "Perhaps," Hyun said carefully, "they have technologies we haven't seen yet." Dr. Min nodded slowly. "Our analysis shows they developed differently than us. We focused on space travel and energy weapons. Who knows what paths they took instead?" Day stood, ending the debate. "We need more information. Prepare a diplomatic vessel. We will send representatives to Earth to determine what they are doing." As the council members filed out, Ambassador Jin approached Analyst Hyun privately. "You truly believe humans are dangerous?" she asked. "I believe," Hyun replied, "that any species that can maintain perfect silence across an entire planet is not a species to underestimate. The silence itself is a message, and we don't understand what it means." In the darkness of space, Captain Yoon's stealth ship drifted silently near the Council's main military base. The crew watched through advanced sensors as a diplomatic vessel prepared to launch. "They're coming to Earth," Lieutenant Kang whispered, though there was no need to whisper in the vacuum of space. "As we expected," Yoon replied. "Send the quantum message to General Han. Text only. Untraceable." Kang's fingers flew over the special keyboard. The message would travel instantly to Earth without any detectable signal. On his screen, Yoon watched alien ships loading weapons even as they prepared their diplomatic mission. He smiled slightly. "They think our silence means weakness," he said quietly. "Soon they will learn what it really means." The diplomatic vessel launched toward Earth, unaware that human eyes were watching its every move, and human ships were following silently behind. The Council ship, Messenger of Peace, moved slowly into Earth's solar system. Despite its name, the ship carried weapons hidden beneath its smooth hull. Captain Jay stood on the bridge, watching the blue planet grow larger on the main screen. "Any signals yet?" he asked. Communications Officer Rim shook her head. "Nothing, Captain. We've sent greetings on all known frequencies. Earth remains silent." Ambassador Key joined them on the bridge. He represented 5 council species and wore the official robes of peace, white with gold trim. But under his robes, He carried a small weapon. "This silence is disturbing," Key said. "No species has ever ignored the Council before." "Perhaps their technology was damaged," suggested Rim. Captain Joe pointed to the screen. "Look there. Their orbital stations are intact. Their satellites still move correctly. No sign of damage." The ship passed Mars, noting the small human colonies there. These too were functioning but silent. No warnings, no welcomes, no threats. "Scan for weapons," ordered Ja. "Nothing that could harm our ship," reported the security officer. "Their orbital defenses are minimal." Ambassador Key nodded. "Then we proceed as planned. We enter orbit and request landing permission." "And if they don't respond?" asked Ja. "Then we land anyway," Key replied. "The Council must have answers." The ship entered Earth orbit easily. Below them, cities glowed with lights. Aircraft moved across the sky. Oceans carried ships. Everything looked normal, except for the silence. "Send the landing request," Key ordered. Rim sent the message, asking permission to land in a place called Geneva. They waited 1 hour. No response came. "This is unprecedented," Key said, pacing the bridge. "It's as if they're ignoring us completely." "Or watching us," Jay said quietly, deciding what to do. Key made his decision. "Prepare the shuttle. I will lead a team to the surface. Standard diplomatic party, 5 representatives, 2 security officers." Captain Ja looked concerned. "Ambassador, is that wise? They have not invited us." "We declared war," Key reminded him. "They must respond somehow. If they won't speak to us here, we will go to them." The shuttle launched from the main ship, descending through Earth's atmosphere. It followed the coordinates for the International Landing Zone in Geneva, a flat area near the Human United Nations building. As they approached, they saw the landing area was empty. No welcoming committee, no security forces, just an empty concrete pad marked with a large H. "Still no communication," said the shuttle pilot. "Land anyway," Key ordered. The shuttle touched down gently. The team waited inside for 30 minutes, monitoring the area outside. Nothing changed. No one approached. "We're going out," Key finally said. "Standard atmosphere checks show we can breathe the air. Keep weapons hidden but ready." The team stepped onto Earth soil. The air was cool and smelled of growing things. Buildings stood in the distance. They could see people moving far away, but no one came toward them. "Spread out," Key ordered. "Look for any sign of welcome or threat." The security officer called out suddenly. "Ambassador, here." On a simple metal stand near the landing pad sat a white envelope. On it was written in the common galactic language, "For the Council representatives." Kay opened it carefully. Inside was a single piece of paper with 5 words written in clear, precise letters. "We received your declaration." Nothing more. No threat. No plea. No explanation of their silence. Kai looked up at the empty space around them, suddenly feeling that unseen eyes were watching. For the first time in his long diplomatic career, he felt a chill of genuine fear. "We're leaving," he said quickly. "Back to the shuttle. Now." As they lifted off, he looked down at the simple message in his hand. Somehow these 5 plain words felt more threatening than any weapon he had ever faced. The Galactic Council chamber was in chaos. Ambassador Key had just finished telling them about the visit to Earth. The simple message, "We received your declaration," was displayed on the large screen for all to see. "This is an insult," shouted Commander Hyun, slamming his scaled fist on the table. "They mock us with this note. Council Head Day called for order. Ambassador Key, in your opinion, were the humans preparing for war?" Key thought carefully before answering. "I saw no obvious military buildup. Their cities function normally, but their complete silence feels deliberate, strategic." "We should show them our power," Admiral Du said, speaking for the first time. She came from a water-dwelling species and wore a special suit that misted her skin. I propose sending a battle fleet to their solar system, not to attack, yet, but to show our strength. Many council members nodded in agreement. Analyst Un stepped forward again. May I remind the council that we still don't understand why humans chose silence? What if it's not fear or mockery, but preparation? Preparation for what? Scoffed Commander Hyun. Their technology is primitive. Is it? Asked Hyun. We've only seen what they want us to see. The debate continued for hours before Council Head Day made the final decision. Admiral Du will lead a small fleet to Earth's solar system. Show our strength, but do not attack unless provoked. Perhaps a display of power will finally break their silence. Meanwhile, deep in space, Captain Yoon's stealth ship shadowed a Council supply vessel. His crew worked quickly, placing tiny sensors on the alien ship's hull. These sensors would send data about Council technology back to Earth through untraceable quantum channels. 5 minutes until their security scan, warned Lieutenant Kang. Almost done, replied Yoon. These will tell us everything about their shield frequencies and weapon systems. The human ship pulled away just before the alien vessel's automatic security scan activated. The sensors, made with special materials, would not be detected. Mission complete, Yoon said. That's the 12th Council ship we've tagged. Soon we'll know every weakness in their fleet. Back on Earth, General Han and Diplomat Su reviewed the data from the Council's diplomatic visit. They're confused, Su said with satisfaction. Their ambassador was clearly unsettled by our silence. And their ship? Asked Han. Chief Scientist Minna brought up detailed scans on her tablet. Their technology is advanced, but not as advanced as they believe. Their weapons are powerful but predictable. Most importantly, they rely heavily on constant communication between ships, which is exactly what we expected. Han nodded. Our jamming technology can disrupt their communications completely. President Lee joined them, looking at the reports and our defense systems. Ready, Minna confirmed. The shield generators can protect our major cities. Our stealth fleet now numbers 50 ships, all undetectable by Council technology. A junior officer rushed in. General, our deep space monitors just detected multiple Council warships heading toward our solar system. Han remained calm. How many? 7 ships, sir, heavily armed. Su looked at the president. They're escalating, as we predicted, trying to frighten us into responding. President Lee's face showed no fear. Maintain silence. Continue with Phase 2 of our plan. And the Council ships? Asked Han. Let them come, Lee said. Position our stealth vessels nearby. If they take hostile action, disable their communication systems only. No direct attacks unless absolutely necessary. Minna looked up from her tablet with a smile. I've analyzed their ship designs completely. I know exactly how to shut down their systems without firing a single shot. As the meeting ended, Su walked to the window and looked up at the night sky. They still don't understand, he said quietly. They think silence means weakness. They haven't realized yet that while they've been talking, we've been learning everything about them. Han joined him at the window. How long until they figure it out? Soon, Su replied. The question is whether they'll be wise enough to back down when they do. 6 months had passed since the war declaration. The Galactic Council, once the most powerful united force in the galaxy, was falling apart. I withdraw my support for this pointless war, announced the representative from the Aquarian worlds. Ambassador Jin stood tall, her silver eyes flashing with determination. My people will no longer participate in actions against Earth. Council Head Da looked shocked. Ambassador Jin. The Council voted. We declared war together. On a threat that never materialized, Jin replied. Half a year has passed. Humans have attacked no one. They've simply gone silent. Around the table, other representatives shifted uncomfortably. 3 more had already withdrawn from the war coalition in the past month. Commander Hyun hissed in anger. They are planning something. Our fleet near Earth has experienced unexplained malfunctions, communications disruptions, data losses. This is the humans' doing. You have no proof, Jin said calmly. Admiral Du, who had led the fleet to Earth's solar system, looked troubled. My ships have detected no human vessels. Yet systems fail. Important data disappears. It's as if we're being watched by ghosts. The council chamber doors suddenly opened. Analyst Un entered, looking tired but determined. Forgive the interruption, she said, but I have critical information. Council head Dae nodded for her to continue. Eon activated the main screen. We've discovered evidence of advanced stealth technology being used by humans. Our best sensors cannot detect their ships, but we know they're there. She showed grainy images of stars slightly distorted, the only hint of cloaked vessels. Furthermore, uncontinued, we found small devices attached to 12 of our ships. They appear to be monitoring devices of a type we've never seen before. The room erupted in concerned voices. Spies, shouted Commander Hyun. They'd been studying our technology. While we waited for them to beg for peace, Admiral Du said quietly, they were learning all our secrets. Ambassador Tae, who had first called for war, had been strangely quiet in recent weeks. Now he stood, looking pale and shaken. I have received a message, he said in a trembling voice. From whom? Asked Da. From the humans, Ta whispered. It came directly to my private quarters. No one else saw it. The room fell silent. What did it say? Jin asked. Just 8 words, Tae replied. We know where all your worlds are located. Silence fell over the chamber. Every species in the council had home planets they protected fiercely. The locations of some were closely guarded secrets. How? Demanded Hyun. How could they know? Because, said Eon, while we've been talking, they've been listening. And watching. For years, perhaps decades before we ever contacted them officially. Council head Da looked suddenly very old. I call for a vote of confidence in the current war policy. The vote was quick and decisive. 14 of the 17 species voted to reconsider the war declaration. Ambassador Tae, said Dai, as the original proposer of this war, what do you suggest now? But Tae's seat was empty. Sometime during the vote, he had silently left the chamber. He's gone, said a security officer who had checked Ta's quarters. His personal ship departed an hour ago. Destination unknown. Later that evening, Ambassador Jin sat alone in her private chamber. A small light blinked on her desk, a message on a private channel. When she opened it, she found coordinates for a meeting and 6 simple words. We are ready to talk now. The message was signed, General Han, Earth Defense Force. Jin looked out at the stars. For the first time since this strange silent war began, she smiled. Perhaps there was hope after all. Ambassador Jin's small ship approached the dark side of Earth's moon. She had come alone, against the advice of her security team. The coordinates had led her to a large crater hidden from Earth's view. As her ship drew closer, she gasped. Built into the crater was a massive base. It had been invisible to their scans. Only now, as light suddenly illuminated its surface, could she see its true size. Earth Lunar Base welcomes you, Ambassador Jin, came a voice over her ship's communication system. Please follow the guide lights to landing Bay 3. Jin's heart raced as she landed her ship. This base must have existed for years, yet the council never knew. The door to her ship opened, and she stepped out. General Han stood waiting. Next to him was Diplomat Su and a woman Jin didn't recognize. Welcome to Luna Base, Han said simply. Thank you for coming alone. Jin nodded. Your message was persuasive. Su smiled. We thought it was time for honest conversation. May I introduce Colonel Sun, head of our Special Technologies Division. The woman bowed slightly. Please follow us, Ambassador. There is much to show you. They walked through wide corridors where humans worked at advanced computer stations. Jin saw technology she didn't recognize. Screens showing real-time images of Council worlds. Maps of star systems the Council thought no one else knew about. "How long have you been watching us?" Jin asked. 50 years, replied General Han. "Since before your Council knew we existed." They entered a large room with a circular table. On the walls were screens showing Council ships. "Your war declaration was not a surprise," Su explained. "We intercepted your discussions months before the vote." "But why the silence?" Jin asked. "Why not respond?" Colonel Sun touched a control panel, and a holographic display appeared above the table. It showed Earth surrounded by an invisible shield. "We needed time," Sun said. "Time to finish our defensive systems. Time to position our stealth fleet near your key worlds." "Your fleet?" Jin whispered. "How many ships?" 300, Han said calmly. "All undetectable by your technology." Jin felt her legs weaken. She sat down heavily. 300 ships. The Council thought you barely had space travel. "Which is exactly what we wanted you to think," Su said. "We've had faster-than-light travel for 30 years. But while you focused on weapons and expansion, we developed different technologies." Colonel Sun pressed another button. The hologram changed to show a small device. "This is a communication disruptor," she explained. "One of these can shut down all systems on a Council battleship without firing a shot. We could have destroyed Admiral Du's fleet the moment it entered our solar system," Han added. "We chose not to." Jin looked at the humans with new understanding. "You never needed the silence for protection. You used it as a strategy, to make us reveal ourselves." Su nodded. "While you debated what our silence meant, we studied your weapons, your shields, your communication systems. We now know every strength and weakness of the Council fleet." "What do you want?" Jin asked. "Why reveal this to me now?" General Han's expression softened slightly. "Because you were the only one who doubted the wisdom of declaring war on us. We want peace, Ambassador Jin. But peace between equals, not between conquerors and the conquered." Sun showed another hologram. "Council worlds protected by human shield technology. We offer an alliance," Su said. "Share knowledge, not threats. Explore together, not conquer." "And if the Council refuses?" Jin asked quietly. Han's face grew serious. "Then we continue our silence. But next time, your ships may find more than just communication problems. They may not return at all." Jin stood up, her mind made up. "I will bring your message to those who will listen. And there are many now who will." As Jin prepared to leave, Su handed her a small data device. "This contains proof of everything we've shown you. Enough to convince even Commander Hyun that continuing this war would be unwise." Jin took the device and bowed deeply. "The Council declared war," she said, "and humans answered with silence. I begin to understand that silence can be the most powerful response of all." 2 years had passed since the Galactic Council declared war on humanity. Today, in the great glass dome of the new Terran embassy, history was being made. The old council chamber was gone. In its place stood a circular room with 17 seats, plus 1 new seat. All were the same size, arranged in a perfect circle. No one sat at the head. No one had more power than others. Diplomat Su adjusted his formal uniform as he prepared to sign the document that lay on the central table. Next to him stood Ambassador Jin, her silver eyes bright with pride. "The Terran Accords," Su said, looking at the title of the document. 2 years ago, I never imagined this day would come." Jin smiled. 2 years ago, we thought humans were primitive beings who would beg for mercy when faced with war. And instead, said Council Head Day, who had survived the political changes, you taught the galaxy a lesson in true strength. Representatives from all 17 former Council species had gathered to sign the new agreement. Even Commander Hyun was there, though his once proud posture was now more humble. General Han entered with Colonel Sun and Captain Yoon, whose stealth fleet was now known throughout the galaxy. People moved aside respectfully as they approached. "The fleet is in position," Jung reported quietly to Han, "visible to all, as requested." Above the dome, 300 human ships had appeared in formation. For the first time, humanity showed its full military strength openly. The sight had caused panic at first, until people understood it was a gesture of honesty, not threat. Su stepped forward to address the gathering. 2 years ago, the old Galactic Council declared war on humanity. Today we establish a new beginning. The Terran Accords create an alliance of equals. No species rules over others. All share knowledge and resources. Jin spoke next. When faced with war, humans answered with silence. That silence taught us humility. It showed us that true power does not need to boast. One by one, the representatives signed the document. Last came Commander Hyun, who had once demanded immediate attack on Earth. He hesitated, then looked at General Han. "Your ships could have destroyed my fleet at any time," he said. "Why didn't you?" Han's answer was simple. "Because true strength lies in knowing when not to use your power." Hyun nodded slowly and signed the document. Later, as the celebration continued, Su and Jin walked in the earth garden that surrounded the new embassy. "Ambassador Ta was never found," Jin remarked. "Some say he fled to the outer systems." "He is not important now," Su replied. "The future matters more than the past." Jin stopped beside a small pool where earth fish swam in clear water. "I have always wondered," she said, "why humans chose silence when war was declared. Most species would have threatened or begged or fought." Su smiled. "There is an old earth saying, 'The lion does not turn around when a small dog barks.' Are you calling the council a small dog?" Jin asked, amused. "No," Su laughed. "I am saying that when you know your true strength, you don't need to prove it to others." Above them, the stars shone brightly. Human ships and council ships now moved peacefully among them. Research vessels from both groups explored together. The war that never happened had led to a peace stronger than any before. In the new council chamber, the historic document lay sealed in crystal. The Terran Accords, born of silence, built on respect. Around it, representatives from 18 species talked and laughed together. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. And humans, for all their supposed primitive nature, had been the ones to teach it.